Hello, and welcome to Real Actors, Real Answers, the podcast where you are the star. Today, I have a wonderful young lady. She is an actress. She has done so much. Sharonne Lanier. Did I get that right?
Yes, Sharonne Lanier.
Good. Thank you. Thank you
Mr.
very much.
David Thompson.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to say this like a director would. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, first, I like to identify myself as a child of God. I seek Him first, and I aim to put Him first. Do I always put Him first in everything? I won't say I always get it right, but that is my aim. That is my core, what I go to. And then I am a wife, a mother of 3 young boys, and an actress, also a nurse, but I stopped practicing almost 2 years ago now so that I could do acting full time. And also, diving a little bit into directing and producing and things like that. So, yeah, here we are.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's exciting. You have a lot of life experience, which like nursing, a wife, a mother, so many things you can lend to a character, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could just take one of those. You could just take wife by itself and like have so much material to to work off of. But the funny thing is, I'm getting up in age. I don't know. I guess I'm middle aged now. I guess it's so weird to come out of my mouth and say, "Oh, I think I'm middle aged." But I remember, like when I hit my 30s, being like, "Oh, I'm out of my 20s." But like, I would still audition for some of the things where you had to be like 20. And I remember like reading, like when I was in my 30s and reading that stuff and being like, there's just so much more now. Like there's so much, like such a greater depth. And so you just get wiser with age. And so I actually now I really appreciate the age and the wisdom that comes with it, the knowledge. You just learn so much. The more you live, the more you learn. So it's good stuff.
That's amazing. I love your spirit. I love your energy. And everybody out there, listen close to that energy, because that's what she's talking about, life. When did you decide to become an actress? Let's start there.
Oh boy, that's a loaded question, David. So I don't know if this is when I made the conscious decision, but I know that this is when I thought I was going to do something in the arena, if that makes sense. So like in 4th grade, so I was 9 years old, my school, elementary school, had an oratorical contest, school-wide, where you had to say, well, you didn't have to, but you could choose to be in this contest, and you would say the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So it was voluntary. But my teacher, she was one of those, everybody has those teachers who just pushes you to the max. Well, she was one of those. So my teacher came in front of our class and she was like, listen, I know this thing is voluntary, but every single person in this class is going to learn this speech. You're going to say it in front of the class, and then we can decide if you're going to the competition or not. So I had never done anything like that in my life. I had never even thought about it. But I was forced to, so I did it and enjoyed it. And so I went on to do the competition. And I won the competition, but the thing that stuck out in my mind was that there were a lot of older people in the audience who came, to watch the competition. And I remember the looks on their faces. So there were obviously people who had gone through the era, and their expressions let me know that what you're doing up here is having a major impact on the people out there. And so it just planted a seed, like, this might be something you want to do. So that was, I would say, like the beginning of, I wonder, if I'm supposed to do something with this. And so over the years, I just gravitated more and more to it. And so in college, I decided to study it. And so here I am. Which there's an interesting thing about that too, because I remember like while I was in college studying theater. So my college degree, I have a BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. But in my school, you could do a Bachelor of Arts. And so I was like, I'll just do Bachelor of Arts so I can double major with something else and make money. I was going to double major with education. But then I wouldn't get all the acting courses that I needed. And so I remember like coming at a crossroads and talking to my mom about what I should do. And she was like, Sharonne, God puts dreams and desires in your heart for a reason. Don't run from it. And so I was like, all right, BFA it is. So yeah, so studied BFA and did theater. I did it for a while. I did theater for a while, almost a decade. Then we started having kids, and then we needed more money, so I went to nursing school then at that point. But now, financially we're set again, so dropped that, and now I'm back at acting full time. But now I'm doing more TV film than I am theater. So.
That is such a rich life, what you just explained. There's so many questions that I have, but limited time. I just say praise God for moms, with that advice that she gave you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many people would be like, no, make the money. My mom was like, you go at what God told you to do.
Time can't be replaced, money can't. So.
Amen.
So what was your latest endeavor, your latest project? And can you talk about it? Is it in production or what?
I think so. I'm just going to talk about it. I don't remember. We signed these NDAs, but some of them aren't all the same. I think I can disclose this information. So I just finished shooting a project called Unsung Hero in Louisville, Kentucky last week. That might have been 2 weeks ago. I know, it might have been last week.
I saw that on Facebook.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So Unsung Hero is oh, you know what? There's actually 2 unsung heroes. So I wonder which one you're talking about. The one I'm talking about, let's see if this is the same one. It features basically the story of For King and Country, like their family, and Rebecca St. James. Is that the one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really like about their struggles coming from Australia over to the United States. And I just never knew their story, like such a rich story, talking about laying it all down before the father once you hit rock bottom and not just giving up. Like, oh my goodness. So I just had a day player role in that one, but it was a really great experience. So that's the latest thing that I shot, which will come out sometime next year, I believe. I think Mel Gibson is starring in it, and Candace Cameron Bure. So, yeah.
All right, I'll cover that in a minute. But for people out there that don't know what a day player is, what is a day player?
Basically, you just come in and you play for a day, in simple terms. So you go in and you act like you're on set for the one day, you knock your role out, and then you're done. So it's like a smaller supporting role.
Okay, that's very important to know that. Secondly, Mel Gibson, what's that about?
I know. That's pretty cool. He plays, I forget his character's name. It's one of the essential characters, though. I didn't have any scenes with him, so it didn't hold in my brain, but.
Did you see him?
I did not. He was not on set.
All right, because I was going to say, those are privileges. Even if you don't act with that caliber, it's a privilege just to watch and to learn. It almost makes me cry, because it's like, that is this, thank you, Lord, I can learn. I can watch. I've been in that position with Drew Barrymore. It's like, I want to watch.
Yeah.
Watch, no, that's wonderful. You had a good time, too.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
And that was in Kentucky?
What'd you say?
Kentucky?
Yeah, Louisville. Yeah, it's always, even like the day player roles, because I pretty much run the gambit. I'll do lead and I'll do day player. Like it's a big mix, but it's always like a good opportunity to get in there and hone your skills, hone your crafts, no matter what. And like you said, watch. So yeah, I'm usually watching everybody.
Now, how did you find out about this role?
Agent. I have an agent. Yeah. I never saw it in the breakdowns. I do some research myself, and I will self-submit myself for projects, but I also have a couple of agents. I have one in LA who Treasure Coast Talent. Her name is Jean Wenger. She's amazing. And she does a lot of faith-based projects. So love her. And then I have one on the East Coast. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. So representing me in the Southeastern market specifically is Houghton Talent. And they're one of the mega houses here in Atlanta. So good stuff.
What was the name in Georgia?
Houghton.
Houghton. How do you spell that?
Yeah. Houghton.
Okay.
I know.
That's wonderful that you have one on the East Coast and the West Coast. God has both ends covered for you.
Yeah.
And, You're right in the middle, going back and forth. Treasure Coast Talent is phenomenal as well. They used to be in Florida, I think.
Yep. They did. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of being an actress?
Man, I think just being able to spread, and let me preface this by saying, like, a lot of the projects that I do, they actually have some type of truth in it, and biblical truth, even if the biblical truth doesn't say it, like, even if it's not scripture, there's some type of biblical truth. And I specifically seek out projects that do that, because that is what I enjoy, pointing people to God's light, to his joy. I love for, like, the hopeless to find hope. So that's like my favorite aspect of doing what I do. I mean, if I could only, so say somebody was like, Sharonne, you can be an actress, but you can only do, this type of project, the projects that just mean nothing. I think you know what I'm talking about. Then I really wouldn't be an actress. Like, like, I specifically want to help people through my acting. So yeah, so that's the thing I enjoy doing.
Your energy level, thank you. Your energy level reminds me of, and I can't remember her name, a younger person in War Room. Do you remember War Room?
Yeah. Are you talking about younger person? Are you talking about Priscilla Shire?
That's the name.
Okay.
The younger one, yeah.
The one who was married, like the lead lady.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love her. I don't know her, but I love her. I was gonna say, I don't know her. I do admire her. I actually listen to her teachings because she's a Bible teacher. She's amazing. But I do know Karen Abercrombie, who played the prayer warrior. So she was the one who was guiding her in the movie. So I've done some, because now she has her own production company. It's called Earth Mother Entertainment, for anybody who's interested, and it's in North Carolina. So I have worked with her under her umbrella on a couple of projects, and she's just amazing as well. Her energy is out of the world as well.
I remember talking to her once on Facebook, because I was going to ask her if she wanted to be interviewed, and then COVID happened and blah blah blah. But
gotcha.
no, she has a spirit about her that is strong.
Yeah, she's so wise. I mean, oh my goodness, like, just her advice, it's so good and encouraging. Love it. Yeah.
Who's on your support team, Sharonne?
Man, actually she's one of them, Mrs. Abercrombie. But I would say, like, my number 1 and 2 supporters would be my husband and my mom. So they're always, like, encouraging me. My mom is so funny. I'm like, Mom, you know more than I do. So, like, let's just say for example, let's just say I told her I went to go shoot Unsung Hero last week, right? So I might just kind of forget about it and keep moving through life and doing whatever else I'm doing. But then she'll call and she'll be like, Sharonne, did you know the movie has a trailer out? Did you see that they did this interview? And I'm like, Mom, how do you know this stuff? Like, I should be the one knowing and telling you. But and she, like, digs everything up. It's so cute. I love it.
She's like your second pair of eyes.
Yeah.
What does your children think of you being on the big screen?
Yeah, to them, it's like nothing. I'm not even exaggerating. I think sometimes they get excited, but most of the times I think they just think it's normal. So, like, say I have something on TV, I'm like, hey guys, my show's on. They'll be like, yeah, okay. And they'll just, like, keep going to the room or whatever. I'm like, guys. So it's funny. But some, when they actually do take the time to sit down and watch, they do show their love and support, and they'll be like, oh, that's a good job. Yeah. But
that's very nice in a way, because they look on you as who you are to them.
Yeah.
I would imagine that, like in Hollywood, for example, and even Barbara Billingsley from that show Leave It to Beaver, she claimed she was not a good mother. That's what she said. She was away from home most of the time. So in that sense, I say bravo to you for, putting them first. They know it. That's an example.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I can remember years ago when the dream overtook the dream giver, if that makes sense. So like my dream for like acting, like actually started to overshadow like God and family. It was like the number one thing. And I remember like coming to a point where it was just like God just opened my eyes and it was like, this is not the order. And I had to step back and literally seek after him first. Family, career. So yes, it's a very conscious like effort. Like it's like a daily dying to self. Like don't let anything outshine God. Don't put your career in front of your family, and then go. So yeah. And so yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's so there's so much peace that comes along with that. And actually, I feel like after I made that decision, things started flowing so much easier. I actually got more roles, which was weird. And then I would have to like turn down roles because I'm like, nope, can't do that's just too much. Like I got to keep this balance. It's very interesting.
On our path, it's like Pilgrim's Progress. I don't know if you've seen the animated.
Yes, I have.
It just made me weep at the end. But you know how he's walking, but then he gets distracted.
Yep.
Here and there, and God pulls him back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is the path you should go. Walk in it. You have a great testimony.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's yep, definitely some many things learned. We could talk all day. I mean, if we went into specifics, but
Understood. Sharonne, what was your favorite role of all time up till now?
Man, you know, you're not the first one to ask that, and I need to like sit down and like really analyze and come up with a very good answer. But I love so many projects for so many different reasons. One that comes to mind is a film called Son of the South, in which I played Rosa Parks. And that one was so I'm gonna put this. Sorry, I got this. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear any noise back here in the background? No. Okay, good. Okay. So so with Son of the South, there's so many reasons why it was special to me, but one of the ones, obviously, just had to do with the role of playing Rosa Parks. So playing somebody who did so much for the community, but the more I learned about her, the greater respect that I had for her. Like, I think like people just think she was this quiet person who was just tired and didn't want to get out of the bus, but that wasn't the case at all. You go back and you watch interviews, and she is soft spoken, but she knows exactly what she wanted to say. She had so much strength. Like an interviewer would ask her a question and she would take that question and run for like 5 minutes straight. I'm like, oh my goodness, like she has so much to say. But the decision for her not to get up on the bus, that was conscious. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm so tired. That was, it's time to fight. And so just being able to tackle that was so beautiful. But I also appreciated, so this is one of the bigger films. So it was a SAG film. I appreciated it also because they had an A-lister selected to play Rosa Parks, and schedules didn't work out with the A-listers. And so they ended up casting somebody more locally. We shot in Montgomery. So local Atlanta, they consider that local. And so that's how I came into the picture. And so the director was like, because I remember getting on set and I was like, there's so many big names here. Like, how did I get in the mix of this? And he explained this to me. He was like, and so your name came in at the bottom of a long list. But he was like, I was watching the auditions. And then he was like, yeah, they were good. But he was like, I got to you. And I was like, she's the one. All right. So they offered me the role, but I hadn't signed any paperwork. So then the A-lister came back and said, oh, I cleared my schedule and I can do it now. And the director was like, that's okay. We have somebody in there. And I'm like, man, if that's not a God thing, I don't know what is, because like that just doesn't happen in Hollywood. Like it just doesn't. Maybe in the independent world, but in Hollywood, it's like, no, they're gonna go with who can make the most money for that.
Well, Sharonne, it's like this. I always go back to that scripture. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So we may think at times, or people may think, you know, well, I got this, or I own this, or this. Hollywood belongs to God. He loves them just as much as he loves the homeless person, you know?
Yeah.
That's his California. That's
Yeah, yeah.
It's deserved, you know? That's fantastic. I gotta see this movie. Son of the South, when was
Uh-huh.
it filmed?
We filmed that, I wanna say 2019, 20 COVID COVID wrecked our country 2020, right? Like March 2020. So I think
2020.
2019 or 2018, one of those years, but then it got delayed by a whole year because of COVID. So it's supposed to come out 2020, but didn't release until 2021. But it's
Okay,
out there. It's streaming now. It's on DVD. You'll find it.
beautiful.
Son
Were
of the
you
South.
intimidated by playing Rosa Parks at any time?
I was. I was. It was one of those things when I first got the call where I was like super happy, and then like 5 seconds later, I was like, "Wait a minute," and got really nervous. Actually, you started freaking myself out. But then it's like what you said. It was like, okay, God, you're trusting me with this. So if you're trusting me with it, I can do it. So picked myself up and started the process.
What a privilege.
It was
What a
great. It was
privilege.
great. Well, yeah, really good experience.
Now, was that from um, one of your agents?
No, so I self-submitted for that one, but then my agent came on board after the offer came in so that they can handle all the paperwork and all that jazz. Yes, I needed them involved. Like
Definitely.
sometimes on the independent, like the smaller ones, you can maneuver yourself a little bit, but on the bigger ones, it's like you really do want to have your agent involved because it's a lot of like legal stuff that we just as actors may not be able to grasp.
Exactly. You know, I always said that, which you reflect so many stories right now, and I see so many people helping you with their helping hands because acting is an ensemble. And I'm not
Mhm.
just talking about on a stage. You need people to help you that know more than you, agents and directors and just a whole list.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and your supporting cast, like your spouse or your parent or your friends, whoever's gonna rally you on, because 'cause you're gonna hit some points where you're just like, "Can I keep doing this?" And you're gonna need that push. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Loving, tough love. Of course you can. What are you thinking?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
How long have you been acting now? How many years?
So, about 20 years, um, but that first decade, as I mentioned earlier, was, strictly stage. And it wasn't until the last decade that it became more TV film. So split almost evenly. But the TV film, and that's more to do too with family life as well. It's just easier to maintain. At least I find it's easier to maintain uh acting when you can do TV film because you go into a project, you shoot it, you're done. With theater, you're rehearsing for a month, and then you may perform for another month or 2 months. So that's already like 3 months out of the gate, no matter if you're if you're a small supporting or if you're lead, it doesn't matter. Like supporting lead, you have a 3-month commitment. TV film, if you're a small supporting, you're literally in and out. And then if you're lead, of course, that can be longer, but still, it's yeah, it's different because your rehearsals are not as long. Like you might have a couple of rehearsals, but it's not going to be like a long, drawn out month thing.
It's like you have to be consciously aware. You know, many times we run on our subconscious, okay? You know, you do it by habit. But with acting, it's literally staying in the moment when you're acting, of course, and when you're not, because you have your, like you said, your family. How can I balance this? Can I balance this? I better pray about it. I better tell my husband or wife. It's living. It's living on a conscious level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I would
You're
agree.
bringing all this out of me because of your smile and because of your energy. I love it.
You know.
What's your next project? Or are you taking a hiatus or what are you doing?
No, I'm not saying that I just go a little bit slower these days. But I generally will do like at least one thing per month. Um, so this month in Atlanta, I'm shooting a Lifetime film. So we'll start that next week. And that's a supporting role, a smaller one as well. So it's not like a huge thing. I think I'm on set for like 5 days, and it's spread out. So plenty of time to like be at home with the kids, family, and stuff like that. So
What
that's
is your secret to memorizing lines?
ah I have been trying to find, because everybody's like, oh, I have this technique, I have this technique. And so I've tried a lot of them. I don't, none of that stuff really works for me. Even like that one, have you heard about the one where you take like the first letter of each word and write?
Yes, yes. It's fun, but
Right. Like I'm like, it's not making me go any faster, but it's a interesting technique. Oh, but I just thought for sure when I first heard it, I was like, that's gonna be the one that's gonna work for me. Yeah. Whatever. So my my thing is, what I have found out is that I just have to like literally be able to picture what's going on in the environment. So even if it's not, because you have your lines, but you haven't gone on set yet, so you don't know how anything's gonna look. Well, in my mind's eye, I will create the scene, and it is most actually every time it's going to be different. So the way I create it is not how it's going to be on set, but it doesn't matter. My mind sees the set, and then it helps me like visually to connect the words, and then also truly knowing what I'm saying. So like if I have lines and I don't understand why my character is saying what she's saying, then I have a hard time memorizing it. So I have to literally make sure I know why I'm saying what I'm saying, and then it just connects, it clicks. So visually and knowing why, for me, makes the learning process or the memorization process a lot smoother.
I like that, especially what you said, because I'm a big advocate as an acting coach with that. The bigger your why, the easier your how. You know,
Uh-huh.
if you
Right.
know why they're doing this or you're doing this in life, okay, that's going to drive you
Yeah.
forward, and it's going to give you a confidence that, oh, all these lines. No, why are you saying it? Why is you? Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. So like the challenge is like, because I do industrials as well, and so that's all like technical stuff. So the challenge is like I'm just spitting out information, and there really is no, I don't know why I'm saying what I'm saying, so so that becomes more challenging. So then it's really like, okay, repetition, repetition, repetition. But it just takes me so much longer to memorize the industrial things than it does like, the TV shows or the films.
yeah, there's all different types of acting.
Mm-hmm.
There is, and you have to go with what God placed inside of you.
Yeah.
Industrials I find challenging,
Mm-hmm.
but they're, like you said, they're sometimes tedious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can only talk so much about this business. Where's the prompter?
Right, right, yeah, right.
I need
I
prompting.
know. And they
Yeah,
use it a lot more nowadays. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for the teleprompter.
exactly. Sharonne, who would you like to acknowledge and thank for their help in your life, continuous? Any names you want to mention?
I'm sure there's plenty, but when you first said that, and I was gonna try to not say him, but since he's the first one that comes to my mind, I'm just gonna say it. So my husband, um, he that guy there, my goodness, like he just has been like so patient throughout, like, well, just being married to me, like I know everybody thinks I'm perfect, I get it, but but I can be a handful, and so just his patience means a whole lot. Um, just being, just he doesn't get upset a lot. He just rides the waves, and I just love that about him. We moved to Atlanta maybe 14 years ago. So we're both from Florida, and we met in college. We were college sweethearts. And so I worked the industry in Orlando, but I was doing a whole lot of theme park work. Like I worked for Disney, worked for Universal Studios, did a whole lot of commercials, industrials, and I hit a point where I was like, I'm not acting so I can do this. Like I want to do more B-tier things. And so we considered like where we could move. We both didn't want to go to LA or New York. So I was like, can we try Atlanta? And at the time, it wasn't a big, like Atlanta's big now, but when we moved here, it just wasn't like Tyler Perry was the only one here. But my husband was like, let's give it a shot. He has nothing to do with the industry, doesn't want to be in the industry, like, like not at all. But he was like, yes, we'll try Atlanta for you. So, I mean, all he knew was Florida, and he picked up, and moved here for me. that's some sacrifice. So I love that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
A leader of a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, there is your two agents, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. So Houghton has a lot of different agencies. Misty Bice is like the one who kind of ushered me into the agency, but there's so many different, like they have a couple of different theatrical, and then I also do commercials, so there's different commercial agents, so there's a whole team of them. I would say I deal with probably at least at least minimum 6 7 8 of them, as opposed to Treasure Coast. I'm usually just dealing with Gene, so it's just like one. But yeah, they've been very instrumental. So Houghton was my very first agent coming to Atlanta, and what I love about them is that they understand that each actor is different, that each actor has different convictions, and so a lot of agents, when they send you an audition, if you decline too many times, they're going to say, well, you're not a serious actor, so get off of our roster. Houghton has a whole different approach. They're like, you can decline as much as you want, if it's, messing with your convictions or something that you don't believe in doing, and it's fine. We'll still keep sending you auditions. So I had never like had that before. So they were the first ones to be like, it's fine. Like, like you
They're
need,
more interested in the art form.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's show, there's business. I understand, but the heart is involved. That's
Right,
beautiful.
right. So I appreciate that about them, because there's so many, and especially that, I mean, right now, like there's so many things that come across my desk, and I'm like, I know I can't do that. I won't do that. I won't do that. And like they've never been like, well, then get off my roster. They've never been like that, and I appreciate that.
Good.
And
That's beautiful.
and Jean, my goodness, that she's a special kind of agent. So she knows like each of us individually. So we have phone calls, like it's like we're friends basically. So, and I've never had like that, to where I've had like I felt like my agent was my actual friend, where she literally like knows us, um, and knows what we want, and just pushes so hard, and that's super special. Like, and she'll even like recommend for projects that she knows she's not going to get paid on, but she's like, I'll go and advocate for you anyway. So there's not, other than the fact of just being there for us, there's nothing for her to gain, except for the fact that she's helping us, but financially it's not doing it. And I'm like, that's a special thing. That's a special thing.
See, this is good. You're wonderful. So is she and the agent, because I tell you what, and I say this all the time. You ask anybody, wealth is relationships. It's not money.
Yeah, I agree.
Because good relationships you're blessed with last, well, a lot longer than a dollar bill or
Yeah.
$100. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to be on Real Actors, Real Answers. It's been up and down and things with your schedule, and which I respect and appreciate. But this is fantastic. I loved it today.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate Thank you for having me, and for working through scheduling difficulties.
Gotta be a willow tree. Willows bend, but they don't generally break, So,
There you go. There
all
you
right.
go.
Thank you so
Oh,
much. Yes, what?
I would like to say before we go. So remember I told you I'm playing my hand at like directing and producing. So like this year was the first year I like actually produced like a project involving a team, and it's on YouTube, and it's called I Really Miss You. So it really, if you just type in I Really Miss You and Sharonne, it should pop up. So I Really Miss You, Sharonne, Sharonne, it should pop up. But that was a whole nother God thing as well. So what happened was, like, years ago, I had this story that I developed for my church, and we did it at church like one time. But over the years, like the message kept ringing louder and louder in my ear, and so it got to a point where it was just screaming at me, and I was like, "All right, we got to do it again." And so I went to my current church that I'm at now, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we could try to do it," but nothing really came out of it. So I was like, "Well, I can't say I really believe it was the Holy Spirit was like, make it a short film." So we did it. And oh my goodness, David, the testimonies. So it's basically about this woman who goes through heart-wrenching difficulty, and how she lets go of God's hand, but then is she going to grab it again, or is she going to let that be the demise. And so it speaks to all of that. But like the testimonies that have come out of the short film, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you feel like God tells you to do something, but once you actually do it, you really see his hand at work and how he's using, what he told you to do for his glory. Man, it's been incredible.
That's God's timing.
Yeah.
It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. There's a season for everything.
Uh-huh.
The song the bird sang.
Yeah.
That's where they got it from. And God has timing. If we remember that, then we'll be okay. We'll be more than okay. So.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to alert everybody to tune in to your various. Oh, one more thing.
Uh-huh.
How do people contact you, please?
Oh, you can. I have one social media platform, just one, and it's Facebook. So it's Sharonne Lanier. So you can message me there. Or my website, I have a contact form as well, SharonneLanier.com. Click on that contact page. You can contact me there. That's it. Very simple.
Excellent. We will be watching you carefully in the future. So, thank you so much for being on this show, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.